everybody, Brandon Jones here. I got Kyle Bossman.
I love trailers.
And I got Matt Blair.
Hello, for the first time ever.
For the first time ever on Trailer Score. Mm-hmm. And everybody's at Blizzcon. It's just Blizzard. Warcraft, StarCraft, Hearthstone. It's all happening right now. So everybody's out of the office. We got people out of the office reviewing games. So it's not like I came to you slightly in desperation, Matt Blair.
The last resort, yeah.
But we brought in other people other than Daniel Bloodworth and Kyle Bossman. But you are a Warcraft fan.
Yeah.
You played the original Warcraft, Orcs and Humans.
Since the original demo disc, yeah.
Which the movie trailer that we are about to talk about is based on, that original game, that original story. A lot of people are really fired up about this. I'm fired up about this movie. I want to see it. I have issues with this trailer, actually, and it's kind of tricky for reasons that I'll get into, but here we go.
For years, our world has been at peace.
So here's why it's tricky. We're here to talk about the trailer. And it's real easy at this point because there's so much conceptually that's going on here, so many questions that this video is raising that we want to talk about the game. Case in point, I think Medivh, the wizard, is the first voice. Ben Foster, I think that's the back of his head with the gray hair. You know, like, we hear him, we don't see him. What does that mean? Completely doesn't matter when you're actually talking about the craft of what the trailer is, because I'm familiar with that character going into it. Actually not familiar with a lot of the orc characters, because I know this is like before... It's kind of Warcraft, but it's also kind of before it. Like, this is the first introduction, which I can't remember if the first game actually covers. Like, aren't they kind of at war when the first game starts?
Yeah, you get a little bit of backstory in kind of the scrolling text, but beyond that, the character building and all the characters that you know don't happen until Warcraft 2 for the large part. Yes.
I dig this. I'm excited about it. I think a lot of these beats look really great. I think I actually end up siding more with the orcs than the humans. I wonder if that's intentional. The trailer starts out and we are given no context. We don't hear them, orcs, speaking. We are entirely on the Earth side. We have a problem. We see this orc jump out of a tree completely unprovoked, slaughter people, throws a horse, it's just like, these terrible things. Then there's this great tonal shift, which I love, and I think it is my favorite moment in the whole trailer. There's just like one hit on a piano, and this guy raises his hands down and lifts up, I'm assuming it's just the blood of a corpse that he has discovered of this massacre that this orc did. And you see this soldier in fear look up right as the orc brings his hammer down, and so I'm assuming that orc killed someone he should not have. And this is finally on the doorstep of the humans. And it just kind of raises that question that is going to, permeate through not only just this game, but the whole saga, which is like, what do we do with these guys? Can we actually, cohabitate? And then when it gets big and exciting, it actually kind of loses me. It is big and it is exciting, but it's just the actual structure of the trailer, I feel, is kind of average. I think it's just kind of like, it's a big, crazy movie. And I think people are really excited because it's very colorful. There's tons of action here. Very curious to see how all this stuff is going to be realized. But I think one of my big concerns is, who are these people? None of them have names. No one says a name in this. And I thought that was interesting. I wonder if that's done kind of intentionally for fans, for them to know, like, I know who that is. But, like, I would have liked, like, a name. Just, like, maybe just tell me what the king's name is. Tell me who the head of the orcs, like, what his name is. Because I think it is easy for you to realize, like, how many orcs are we looking at here? It's like that guy that looks sad. Is that the guy that was looking sad 30 seconds ago, or is that a different orc? And there's other issues, but I don't want to rag on too long at the beginning of the trailer. What do you think, Kyle?
I think the best thing the trailer does is it represents a clear conflict. We get what the story's about. So yeah, we don't know our characters, which is silly, but yeah, we get what's going to happen in the story, which I think is important. But I get what you're saying, Brandon, about just the escalation of this trailer. There's a certain point where interesting things stop happening, and I think that's when the one orc comes and says, hey, we want to team up. Then everything after that is not interesting, basically, story-wise, what's being revealed-wise. So it's like as simple as this. The Griffin is really cool. You opened with the Griffin. You got us our attention with that Griffin, and then you can't end the trailer with the Griffin at the same time and expect us to still be in awe. You got to escalate always, and so I think that's kind of, it doesn't escalate toward the end. And also, I don't want to criticize their CG. The orcs look sick. Every scene with orcs looks great. Every scene with a human talking to a human looks ridiculous. I can't explain what it is, but every time you cut back to like a weird fake king talking to another weird fake guy, it looks so dumb. I don't know what that is. The people huddled in the cage, I don't know. All the humans look fake and weird.
I kind of agree with you in terms of the pacing issues, but I think they just kind of, generalize it probably a little too much. I think they tried to do way too much with way too much. I think they felt like they had to establish the world for a lot of people who don't know about it, but then try to include a lot of things for all the fans, because obviously this movie is basically just for the fans. I mean, let's be honest. The core conflict here is supposed to be orcs versus humans, right? Like, all of the meta that we know from Warcraft isn't an issue here. They're talking about a conflict between two races, but they do too much to humanize the orcs in this trailer.
The orcs definitely win. The humans seem super stupid. They're just like, we clearly have to go to war. I mean, even like the one guy who says you would side with the humans over your own people. Like, I kind of feel for that guy. He's got a point.
Yeah.
You know, like you see the orcs and you're like, oh yeah, side with the humans. But they're just like, oh, what an insult. It's like you met this species last week and you're siding with them.
So you lose the factor of fearing the orcs, first of all, because if we're supposed to feel for the humans, then they say, okay, well, these are really scary things, and this is a conflict we're going to have to deal with. They take the fear away completely when they humanize the orcs, and they do it very quickly. So for the rest of the trailer, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, what's the real conflict of this movie? Why do I want to see what plays out? For anybody who doesn't know Warcraft lore, you kind of lose them right away in the trailer when you start doing that.
I think there's a clear thing, again, not to bring in knowledge that I have going into it. This is very basic knowledge in the Warcraft universe. They're not from this planet. And I think that's important, because he says, like, we should make a name for ourselves. We need to make a home here. And they don't mean, like, a day's walk from their house. They mean, like, they went through a portal into another dimension. And I think that helps so much. It helps, establishing why the humans aren't dumb, that there's no way the humans would know what the hell's going on. They literally were just ported into our world. And it also kind of shows that, like, there wasn't like climate change or something. It didn't get like uncomfortable in Outland. They had to leave or die, and so it just would raise the stakes a little bit. We don't even see the portal, and I think maybe that's something that they're holding out for fans. But I would have liked that moment. I think that would really help justify the desperation on the orcs' part and the confusion on the humans' part as far as like how this conflict came about.
Holding out is one of the key words I wanted to point out there. I think that's actually one of the key issues that maybe is causing some of the stuff we don't like about this. A lot of quick cuts. A lot of the dialogue doesn't match up with the mouth moving when you really actually sit back and watch it.
Dude, can we talk about that for a second? Because some of it doesn't. One of it doesn't at all. It's the exact line. I wrote it down. She says, "There is one who can," and she's in a prison cell, and it's a profile shot. And I think it's Gora, not Gamora, because that's Guardians of the Galaxy. I know it starts with a G. I can't remember her name, but like she's like, but there is one who can. She does not say that, and I know. For people that that don't cut trailers for a living, like that is kind of tricky. Like you will have one line that a producer or a director or an ad company or something will say, "This, we want this line of dialogue," and you're like, "Okay," and you put that line of dialogue in. Like, yeah, but I don't like that shot of her. Can you get another shot? And it's like another shot of her not saying that line. What? And like, yes. And so like. The editor that did that probably had no choice. It was just like, I have to use a close-up, but she doesn't say this in a close-up, but they want that line. And that's actually one thing that actually I think contributes, Kyle, to making the humans seem so fake, is whenever you see the humans, it's real quick. It's just like, there's the human talking, okay, moving on. So like, you'll have one person turning and saying like a word, and then you'll hear a whole very important sentence, and it just it doesn't connect you to that world. You don't feel like I was in that room with them. It feels like I'm just getting these little quick shots. Whereas like with the orcs, we get huge, expansive, gorgeous shots of him, petting his wolf and surveying the village and everything.
And that kind of emotional scene about saying whatever it takes.
Right.
You actually like get emotion from the orcs.
The other issue that I'm having, which I feel so bad because like the early social reactions to this were incredible. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, did you see that trailer?" And the effects look great. It's not like I haven't seen good-looking CG orcs before, though. Right. It's like, I mean, case in point, they released a trailer for Legion, for the new expansion coming to World of Warcraft, that, like, in some ways kind of looks better than this because it's just streamlined. Like, I'm looking at this world, I'm not looking at, when I see the orcs, like, they look great, and then when I see the humans, they look worse, but then I get used to the humans, and then I see the orcs again, and now they look like cartoons. And so it's kind of tough. It's one of the issues I had with Lord of the Rings, is that, like, it was that disparage between, like, the CG characters and the real characters. Me being like, that's not a dwarf, that's a human dwarf. Like, that's a human elf, that's a human hobbit.
Sure.
And again, like, it sounds like we're ragging on this so much, but I'm ragging on it because it feels just very conventional to me. Like, the music is not that great. It's very modern, actually. Like, there's a kind of distortion effects. I don't think they bring in, like, electric instruments or anything extreme, but, like, doesn't remind me of Warcraft music. I don't think this is going to be the music in the film. Probably hasn't been written yet, because there's no theme that jumps out of this at me. It's just kind of generic, dun 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 dun, war, kind of vibe. They show the armies clashing and then show them running at each other. Like, there's just some shot selection here that I don't particularly favor, but I think it's kind of average. And because of that, I will give it the official average score of GameTrailers.com, which is a 7.8. Because it is exciting, and I'm excited for it. I think what this movie package I'm looking at now is completely acceptable to bring to BlizzCon and make your fans just rabid with excitement. It succeeds at that.
I'm giving it a 7.5 for doing its job well. I don't agree that 7.8 is average, by the way. I'm not comfortable with that.
Well, it's just a popular score.
Sure.
It's a memed score within GameTrailers.
Yeah, so to me, it's like, hey, you did your job well, you get a 7.5. But yeah, it doesn't stand out. It doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't look as huge as I expected it to be. I thought this would be a huge movie, and I'm not getting that impression yet. In a weird way, it's hard to explain that. It seems like maybe a small story with small. I don't know, but yeah. I think I dreamed bigger for this movie. I think I dreamed of Lord of the Rings.
I gotta go with the 6.8. I know the first one. I'm dropping a bomb on something I actually truly love, but
and that's the conflict. Is that I'm so excited about anything Warcraft.
Well, this trailer...
I'm not going to play Legion, and boy, that trailer looks awesome. You know?
But it got me excited because I have a lot of dots to connect within the world, and I'm excited to explore the orcs versus humans, orcs and humans, sorry, like that early set of the story, and I love that, and I miss it, and I'm glad that it's coming back in this way, but there are too many quick cuts, they use too many shots. It's like somebody went down a checklist of things to do, and then we're looking at the result. Don't get me wrong, I'm hyped. I'm glad to see any second of that movie that I can. But as a trailer, as a standalone thing, if you were going to show this to me and I didn't know it was at BlizzCon, I had never played Warcraft before, it's kind of messy.
I hated at the end that he jumps off of the castle and then it cuts straight to battle, and it's like those shots aren't. He doesn't jump on the griffin and then go right into battle. He's not even wearing shoes, I think, when he jumps on the griffin. And so I hate that. I hate when context is done. There's actually a very weird shot where you see the orc who's holding the baby and he turns to his wife and he says I don't know. That's actually a really great moment where he's like, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to get through it together. And she's like, yeah, we'll do it. And then cuts back to him looking all sad in clearly a different scene.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of just weird shot choices, but the one thing that I will say that I can tell from this movie is this movie looks like they're not messing around. This movie looks like a huge effort on behalf of Universal and Legendary and Blizzard. But 7.4 is the aggregated trailer score for the official trailer for the Warcraft film. I don't think that there's anyone in that room actually at BlizzCon that would have given this anything under a 9. So we might be making some enemies with people out there for giving it an average score. But a lot of it for me is because I have so much stake in this film and the possibilities of what you could do in the Warcraft universe. And so I would like to see a trailer after this one. I would like to see the next trailer geared more towards fans and not in a way that we're not going to show you Medivh, we're not going to show you the portal, we're not going to show you these things because we want to tease you with that. It's like give me a theme, give me a Warcraft theme, give me
the music I think is so important, Brandon.
Yeah,
they need to get that in.
Tie this a little bit closer. Have me spend a little bit more time with the humans talking, and give me a little bit more of this world other than just kind of like a big, loud, crazy, epic action adventure fantasy trailer. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blair, for showing up at the show for the first time ever, and thank you guys for watching. See you next episode.